Hello everyone! Welcome back to what is round 6 of the Sim Racing Federation ARS World GT Series live here at Interlagos, Brazil. I'm your commentator for tonight, Zokeo. Unfortunately, right as we was just about to start the broadcast, Mika's data became corrupted for GT Sport, so condolences to him. I've been through that situation before with multiple games. So, unfortunately, that's the reason why he isn't here tonight. So I've got another co-host with me here today. Not pineapple juice. Instead, it is some dandelion and burdock. Why? Because dandelion isn't fancy enough of a word. Anyway, let's have a little bit of a rundown of some of the competitors here. So far in this practice session, we actually managed to get in to see one of these for once. It is TSR Stig for the Simpac Gojira team lining up the timing sheets, although only 12 thousandths behind, who was just in their slipstream on the run to the start-finish. TSR Joe 2 guy for the main team in that Mercedes-Benz, so those guys are looking quite strong as well. Interesting to note as well, Y-Bear, one of the BMWs, doesn't have any ballast going into this race. Could be a dark horse for this one. Car 99 currently third in the timings. Championship leader Wake has somehow managed to get incredible results in the face of adversity this season. They find themselves currently 5th on the timing sheets, as Quinner's fan favourite finds themselves just 7 thousandths ahead at the moment. Of course, the ART main team in that classic orange scheme of theirs. Of course, the Porsche 911 as well should be very good in Sector 2, we're thinking, that Porsche, especially if he cuts the corners like that. Now, he's on an outlap, so I suppose that doesn't matter that much, plus practice, as I said. Nevertheless, who else do we have? We have Rotary of the Paradox team. Paradox Autoworks with the novice sticker on the back, even though he's been around for a fair while, I'd say. The Jaguar, again, could be competitive. It's difficult to say. I believe Sector 3 is probably going to be its main strength as they go up the hill. That supercharged engine should give him a bit of grunt going up there. Fred Dude, currently 7th, and also yet to actually set a time, so this is just going to be track position at the moment. Though he is 2/10 up going into Sector 3. Interesting of note. Again, they got 1% ballast from an incredible fight that they had with Stig last time out. If you didn't see it, be sure to go watch the race we had at Mount Panorama last time out. Some fantastic action there. Fred goes 3rd on the timing sheets then. TSR Swablu, the other Mercedes, didn't really have that good of a race at Mount Panorama, in contrast to Fred. We'll be hoping to do a lot better here. I believe the only Simpac car that doesn't have any ballast going into this race, so that could certainly be one to watch. We know his pace as well is generally quite solid. Sota for the GT MES outfit, of course, another series that I do commentary for over on their own channel. Shout out to them over there for setting up that deal, so that's something you can also check out there, GT MES. Of course, they're using the Audi R8 here today, the Flying Fin. It should be interesting, a lot of elevation on this circuit, and the R8 typically doesn't like elevation, but you never know. We'll see how it goes. And oh wow, this is a stacked lobby, 14 people in here, so 12 cars as qualifying is underway. Here we also have ART James with the Arrows Racing Blue outfit with the hashtag stay at home, of course. Even as the lockdown is easing, it's still best to stay at home where possible. Of course, we've been seeing all sorts of stuff on the news, but this isn't a politics channel. What do you think I am, Keemstar? Survey says, and that is how it is gonna stay. So, It is going to be Rotary in the Jaguar who's leading us out. I'm just going to read some of the messages in chat as they are on their outlaps at the moment. Hello to John Wandering, first message in chat. Nobody cares, thank you. Always nice to have that kind of encouragement. 720p, yep, Hagee, that is a thing that I can do, I believe. John Wandering say we just care a little. Hello to Amuda as well in chat. Mika in chat as well. Again, unfortunate that you're having these issues at the moment. I know it's stressful, but nice to have you in chat at least. And hello to Martin as well, TSR Martin here. Nice for you to be joining us along for the broadcast. 6 viewers at the moment, as the cars leading off by ART Quinners are about to go on to their first laps of qualifying. Here we go then. Going to go for an on-board here, just to showcase a lap, save a bit of time. So down towards the center S, here we go. Again, lots of elevation change. Nice, and over the curb there. Again, can be very unsettled by that. You're going to run nice and wide. Again, Quinner's not quite using the full extent of the exit there. Also a car up ahead that might give him a bit of trouble, a bit of traffic. Now braking down as you go into the second sector, a very technical sector, has to be said. Again, sort of a double apex here. As you now make your way towards the tightest section of the circuit. Very undulating, sweeping right-hander there, going into a series of 3 consecutive hairpins, essentially. A lot of camber as well, so you can carry a little bit of speed. And then again, it is all very crucial to not spin the car out. It's so easy to do that, especially in these mid-engine machines. And then you go all the way to the right to get a good run and see if you can go as flat as you can on the run down to Jonestown. And again, braking nice and easy. Cars do tend to overshoot that corner as well, so something to look out for. Now, will they be able to get a bit of slipstream from the Lexus of Amuda that's up ahead? I don't quite think so, but flat out now, on the run back up the hill. You see the grandstands on the right, plenty of fans in attendance here today, a fantastic evening of racing, running right to the pit wall, and it's going to be second place provisionally, as they've actually been helping James with some slipstream on that lap. Be interesting to see if those two swap around a bit. The cars continue to go through. James currently has the pole position. Wybear now third, because Stig has taken the pole position in the Gojira GTR, and now Swablu betters him with a 130.184. So as everyone has come across the line for the first time, it is Swablu from Fred, from Stig, from James, Wybear making up the top 5. The Joe 2 guy, not that good of a lap the first time out for them, especially compared to what we know they are capable of. Probably going to be one to watch as they try and better their time. Also, they Wybear, you see, could have a bit of slipstream going up the hill. A lot of this can be slipstream dependent, to be fair to them. Cars making their way round. Amuda yet to set a lap, I believe. They sort of getting the way of the others, although they are providing slipstream now. Of course, they're on a qualifying lap themselves, so they have no reason to obey blue flags of sorts at this point. James right behind them. What's Amuda's time going to be? It's going to be a 1:33. That puts them ahead of their Golden Bear Motorsports teammate, John Wandering. Meanwhile, it was 4th place for James. Wybear now takes that 4th, as Amuda now lets some of the guys go ahead. They rejoin on exit of the Senna S. As the 5 minutes are up, anyone who crosses the line now are going to be finished. So there were a couple cars that didn't make it, believe it or not. I know Swablu was one of them, looking at the mini-map, and the other one was Fred Dude. So those two didn't quite manage to get onto another lap. Race control will probably inform them, I should hope. Those are the top 2 at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see where the others can improve. Look how close it is. The top three separated by just over 200ths of a second. Fantastic stuff already. We're watching Stig as they make their way through the very tricky second sector. Not the GTR strong point, we know that much. As Fred has been told, Swablu as well didn't make it. So Stig, the highest ranked at the moment of those that are on a lap, although they aren't looking to improve at the moment. I believe James is going to be the first to cross the line. No improvement for James. Improvement for Roland, they go 7th. So Roland Jupiter goes up to 7th place. Do we have any other changes? 1,000th between Wake and Quinners. Extremely competitive qualifying as we see what Stig can do. Stig can't quite improve. Who else is left? I think Soda might be the only one. No, Soda isn't on a lap, it would seem. I believe that is qualifying over, and it is TSR Swablu. I mentioned the kind of pace we could expect from them with no ballast here today, and indeed they take the pole position by 14 thousandths of a second from Fred Dude, who was only 8 thousandths of a second faster than Stig. And then another gap less than a tenth to Weiber. So fantastic for this qualifying session. Here you see the times. The majority of the field into the 1:30s. Look how close it is. If this doesn't hype you up for what is going to be a fantastic night of racing, I don't know what will. Some of the guys now going onto the pits, they're switching tyre compounds, as you can see, in preparation for the race. The qualifying order is set. TSR Swablu will get the bonus point now for that pole position, so congratulations to them on a fantastic lap. Now, gonna go through chat again real quick, see what you guys are saying. John wondering with an interesting fact, or so he's heard, that Dandelion comes from Dent de Leon, or I assume, is that French? That's possibly French, I don't know. Hello to Half the Race Gone. Nice having you along. I assume that's Sturton. Nice having you here. Of course, another company that I've done work for. I've been everywhere, man. When am I getting that bottom split not in America job, eh? And yep, 1,000th between Roland and Wake. This has been probably the closest qualifying session I've ever seen, if I am being honest. And I'm rubbing my hands together because it's going to be a fantastic amount of action coming your way shortly here from Interlagos. If you are enjoying the action so far, be sure to leave a like on the stream. It helps the channel out a lot, and all the other stuff that YouTubers typically say. I'm sure it does something, but again, if you are enjoying it, consider that. If you want to continue to be updated on the rest of this championship and such, and other things that happen on the channel, consider subscribing as well. We've got the entirety of this season still to go, which is today and 2 more rounds, I believe. We've got Laguna Seca in a week's time and Suzuka as the season finale a week after that. Of course, some other things going off on the channel as well in time. Won't be bothering your notification feed too much, so come on, eh? Only if you want, lads. So this is going to be a good opportunity to actually, no, a bit of news that we're hearing now. It would seem Swablu, who's taken pole position, isn't going to be able to start this race. Hold on, what's this that I'm seeing in the chat? Not going to be able to race. He still gets the pole position point, as says, but that is extremely unfortunate circumstances. Of course, real life ahead of virtual life, and as it should be. Shout out to Swablu's mom, I guess, on the stream. I don't know. Anyway, back to what I was doing before. The championship standings, as they are on GT Planet at the moment. Wake, with a very healthy lead in the driver's standings at the moment. They're on 94 points in first, with the closest challenger being the Joe 2 guy on 78. Gives you kind of a scale of that lead. With TSR Swablu on 53 points, they are in third. ART James, the closest to the TSR guys, they're on 52 points in fourth. Fred Dude on 50 points, they're in fifth. TSR Stig on 47 points in sixth. Quinners, 33 points, they're in seventh. Ybear, 29 points, they are in eighth. Rotary, they are on 23 points, they're in ninth. 10th place is the way of ART Splurge. They're on 17 points. Sota on 9 points in 11th. Amuda on 8 points. They're in 12th. So that's a very close margin that they're hoping to fight over for today. Be sure to look out for that one. And John Wandering, who is here today, has missed several of the rounds and is yet to score at the moment. As for the Teams Championship, it's pretty much a two-horse race at this stage in the championship, with Simpak Gojira and Team Simpak Racing, so it's all but a given that the Simpak guys are going to wrap up the championship mathematically at some point. They do have that kind of a lead, but you never know, of course. It isn't over till it's over. It's Simpak Gojira currently leading, so technically the second team. It's Scuderia Nukeshot Syndrome all over again. They're on 141 points, with Team Simpak Racing 10 points back on 131. Closest challengers to the Simpak guys are my own team, Nukeshot x Starscream Enterprises, of course, collaboration with Mikey and the crew. Shout out to them. And Arrows Racing Blue on 52 points, narrowly ahead of the main Arrows Racing team on 50 points. Another case of Scuderia Nukeshot Syndrome, where the second team is ahead of the first team. Paradox Auto Works, they're on 23 points at the moment. They're in 6th, and Golden Bear Motorsport, they are on 8 points at the moment. A reminder that 21 points goes the way of the winner. Pole position gets 1 point, as does fastest lap. Gonna go back through some stuff in chat while we wait. But I believe that's going to put Fred Dude on the pole position, as because Swablu unfortunately has to leave due to family commitments, I'll say. I believe that means that Fred will be at the front of the grid, with Stig lining up alongside in that GTR. Amuda is now back. Now, for a word from our sponsors, Dandelion and Burdock. Proper good stuff there. Definitely has the Nukeshot seal of approval. Only issue is it's sort of a licorice blackish brown, as opposed to a plasma dynamic green. Now, maybe some kind of food colouring will be able to sort that, I don't know. Although I don't know if food colouring works with such a dark shade. That's probably not a thing. I need to think of some green products that I can endorse on this channel. Permanent markers, I guess? I've got some of those here. Green Lego bricks. Ah! The final is starting. I don't have to fill space anymore. Good. Now, of course, one formation lap, provided that the race director is happy for everything to go ahead here at Interlagos. Again, evening conditions. Now, with it being as dark as it is, you got to think the track temperature is going to be a lot colder than quite a lot of people are used to, at least for other races that they may have done in the past. Of course, I would hope that everyone's been doing their practice in these conditions. Slime, yes, let's become a slime channel. Thank you, John Wandering. 70 miles an hour speed limit. Advisory, 1.5 car length gap, I believe. The cars ahead and behind. So it's going to be Fred Dude leading them off. But yeah, the track temperature will lead to a bit of a less grip, you gotta think, than normal. With it being colder. Might take a while for it to heat up, with, of course, race running and stuff. So tyre temperatures could be very crucial. Going to be seeing a bit of weaving here, as we are doing from Fred Dude at the moment. So to go through the order again, just before we get the start underway, it's going to be Fred Dude on pole position after Swablu had to leave. TSR Stig will be second, Y-Bear third, James in fourth, highest of the ARS cars, the Joe 2 guy fifth, Quinner's Roland Jupiter in sixth, Wake championship leader down in seventh. They have a fair bit of ballast though, so somewhat expected. G4 Rotary there in 8th. Sota in 9th. Shout out to my racing number 9. Number 59 car, funnily enough. Amuda there in 10th. They are ahead of their Lexus teammate John Wandering. And we haven't actually got to see the yellow hat design that much this season, unfortunately. But nice seeing it again here. The double American outfit of Golden Bear Motorsport. Cars making their way through the second sector now. Again, if you're hyped for this race, be sure to leave a like. Durton from half the race gone, doing a bit of cruising at the moment. Can't say I blame you. Good stuff. Let's hope no one loses it under safety car because of the weaving that they're doing. These cars set up with a fair bit of rake, which can make them a bit oversteery at times, deliberately so, in order to get the turn in. Form up double file, odds on the left, so here we go, double file now. We have actually seen some people spin out on full course cautions and such in the past. We hope that isn't going to happen now. The cars are lined up for what is going to be round 6 of the ARS World GT Series here at Interlagos. As Fred Dude breaks the timing beam, we will go green. Any second now. And it's green, 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 and the cars are off. Fred Dude makes their way down towards the center S. What will Stig be able to do on the outside? It looks like they're slotting, and that's James going way off in the background. Stig remains in second, oversteery from Quinners, I believe that was, or was that Amuda? We've got a case of vehicle damage with the Joe 2 guy. We've got a full course caution called already. Let's see if we can piece together some of the stuff that may have happened. If we can. I may have just missed the marker here, but I'm gonna try. So Joe seemed to have front damage at this point, and then was hit from behind as someone rejoined. I'm just gonna see. Right, so a car being sent wide, and there is contact there. Now, who else has damage at this point? If it is just Joe and James, then that would imply that there's been contact between those two. Oh, actually, Y-Bear damaged front and back. So it's going to be one for the stewards to probably look at again at the start. Unfortunately, haven't been able to show you the full picture here. A possible interpretation is that one car went into another, and that went into another, given 3 cars have damage, or there may have been separate incidents altogether. All we know at the moment is that 3 cars do have damage. It's going to be Wybear, the Joe 2 guy, and James. These guys making their way into the pits. Gonna have to be performing some repairs. Hello to Real Crazy in the chat. Nice having you along. I believe you're a new viewer, aren't you? I could be mistaken. Don't quite recognize your username there. Back out onto the circuit goes the Joe 2 guy. With Wybear there. And these guys will have to rejoin at the back of the queue. Has to be noted. Because they did make a pit stop, even though they did technically go out ahead. It just stops things being completely shaken up. Good work by race control for this one. So now we should hopefully be going green after this. Again, the minimum race distance across the 2 tyre compounds is 6 laps here today, with the 54 racing lap count. Restart this lap is indeed cool. Let's see some of the strategies here. So we've got Fred on the soft compound, mediums for Stig. That might be why he wasn't attacking at the start. Mediums also for Amuda and for Quinners. So actually quite a lot of people on the mediums at the start. Wake in 5th, Rotary 6th, and Sota, another soft runner. So only 2 soft runners we found so far, Fred and Sota. Then it's mediums again for John Wandering, mediums for James, the Joe 2 guy also on mediums, and Wybear on mediums as well. So only 2 cars on the softs, and crucially Fred at the front on those softs. He's going to try his best to pull a bit of a gap on the others here, try and do a bit of a reverse strategy of what the others are doing. So, as the cars make their way up the hill again. Oh, fantastic scenes with the headlights. And the fog lights as well. Look at this, fantastic sky as well. Leader crosses the pit entry start and the pit wall. So I believe they're going to restart again at the timing line, which is crossed. And we are racing once again here at Interlagos, and this time Stig rather, looked a bit to the inside there as we got a sliding Amuda making their way down the SRF. There's almost like a water slide there. As in 7th place we have side-by-side action between Sota and Rotary, as round the outside of turn 3 went Sota. Fantastic move by them there. Quinners also having a bit of a scrap up ahead with what I believe is that Wake? Yep, Wake finds himself up to 4th. Wake manages to just stay ahead for now. These two still very, very close. As I think back here we see James looking to the inside of Joe. As actually a scrap for 10th and 11th, John Wandering managing to stay ahead of Wybear at this point, as still 4th and 5th. You can see side by side Wake in 4th now, making their way to John Sao, and on the run, which should be very beneficial for their car. So they make their way up the hill. The GTR plenty of grunt, plenty of slipstream up ahead as well. Gonna go on board if we can. Here we are with the GTR as they're making their way towards Amuda and the Lexus. Does Amuda defend, or does Wake make a lunge? It looks like Wake. Oh, no, okay, he backs out of it. Looked like he had a thought about it at least. Now Amuda seems to have dropped out the slipstream of Stig, so they're not going to have overly much of a defense now, as indeed they're going defensive to the inside. Will Wake be able to hold it? There's a bit of contact between the two of them. Bit of onion barges, as we say, as they're 3 wide on exit. And somehow Quinners has managed to get his way up to third. Fantastic move, taking the opportunity. And now we see James also side by side with Sota. James making their way up the order along with the Joe 2 guy. Fantastic stuff here, look at this. 3 cars all in a train trying to overtake Sota. Some fantastic racing we're already seeing here today. Let's get back to the live footage, see if we can do our best to not miss anything. Fred on the softs, remember, they're extending their lead at the moment, 2.5 seconds. Stig, they've broken away from Quinners, which is essential for them on their mediums. They're 2 seconds ahead. Quinners in third. And Amuda still under attack from Wake. Look at this side by side now again. Amuda defends the InsideLine.com. Sponsor please. Now gives a bit of a shoomy squeeze. Great racecraft here. Oh, slight tap. I think Amuda's just about managed to get it stopped. Nice work by them. Joe up to 6th at the moment. They're looking to continue their way up the order, and James managed to follow them through, as we mentioned before. Wake now actually does have the inside line, so not defended by Amuda on that occasion. They're hoping to go for the momentum around the outside. I don't think it's going to quite work with the double apex. Indeed, Wake does move up to 4th in the end, and they're going to now be in hot pursuit of Quinners, though they are just outside that slipstream. They should be able to catch back up again, but then again the Porsche going into its favourite sector, the very tight and twisty sector 2. 3 hairpins, as I did mention. As Rotary currently 9th, as Wybear has managed to get ahead of John Wandering, it would seem, at the moment. Red Dude still leads at this stage. Stig, the gap between them and Quinners has pretty much stayed the same, but now we're seeing a run perhaps developing by the Joe 2 guy as they look to overtake Amuda. Rear wing cam here as we got a couple of pitters as we have reached lap 6, so these guys don't have to stay on their mediums. Joe goes to the inside. Amuda tries their best to get a cutback as they made their way down the center S. Can't get it to stick. Good thinking with the racecraft, just couldn't quite get it to work on this occasion. Maybe they can make an attack again on the Mercedes. No, think better of it on this occasion. But yet we are past that marker, so the mandatory lap distance done. So how many of these guys will continue to come in? So James has made a pit stop, I believe. As has John Wandering, I assume. Going back to some of these battles, look at this. Fantastic camera work again by Jack Wilkinson. Amuda perhaps coming under a bit of an attack from Sota. Sota in 6th rather. I'm completely blind and speechless today. Apologies for that. They look to the outside through there. They dive for the inside and contact. That sends Amuda to Narnia. Do they stay out the wall? I think they just did. That's going to really cost them, and that's a very scary rejoin, perhaps. Let's see if we can get a bit of a replay of this one then. It just seemed like a bit of an optimistic dive, perhaps. Bit of a lunge. Into the pits comes Amuda, as does Wake, Wybear, Joe. A lot of these guys now transitioning onto their softer compound. They'll probably stick with that for the rest of the race as it is faster. Interesting to see the likes of Stig and Sota staying out. Here you see Rotary rejoining in 9th place, and John Wandering didn't make a pit stop that last time round, my apologies. So, indeed, in the clear air, it probably is just to do with clear air at this point, is why Stig's staying out. Sota, they actually were one of the 2 cars that started on the soft, so that's why they're staying out. They've got track position at this stage. So far at this early stage of the race, things working out quite well for Sota. Quinner's currently 4th. They have changed their tyres. They are the highest ranked at the moment that have made their pit stops as Quinner's, so this could be a good strategy by the Irishmen. See if they can gain some time, especially if they can catch to the slipstream of Sota. They can really start to eat into the gap that Stig had over them before the pit stop cycle. We have to see how it continues to develop. At the moment, we've not really seen too much of the effects of the slightly colder track temperature than normal. Everyone seeming to keep their cars under control for the most part. According to our weather radars, there is no chance of rain at all because this is GT Sport and it is Interlagos. Interesting to see if James and the Aston Martin will be able to catch up. Now, interesting note about the Aston Martin. As of today, there's been an update to Gran Turismo Sport, and there has been a slight balance of performance change by Polyphony that is being run here today, with exception for the GTR, I believe, because that was a custom BOP to begin with. So the balance of performance for the Aston Martin has a 1% power increase to what it was before. So we could see James use that to their advantage, make their way with that fantastic V12 engine at the front of that Aston Martin, and see if they can catch up to the back of Quinner's. The gap stands 2.2 seconds, and it would seem that Quinner's has managed to get into that slipstream range that I was thinking of. Fastest lap at the moment held by Fred due to 130.389, as they are currently in the lead of the race. 11 viewers at the moment on stream. Fantastic having you guys all along. Again, consider leaving a like if you're enjoying the action so far. We've still got plenty of racing to go, as you can see by the lap count. But look at this. Look how close. ART... I was about to say ART, Quinner's again. But the Arrows Racing Team car of Roland Jupiter, known as Quinner's on the channel, of course, as his nickname, is to the R8 of Sota. Both cars mid-engine, both should favour this sector. You can see the different lines. Quinner's able to take quite a lot of curb for that first part. You gotta think, he might just stick behind for now. No point really making a move going into Junsale at this stage, because Sota would only get the run in the slipstream to make an overtake back. So he's going to stay behind for now, see if he can mount a run. Oh, seems to get a much better exit, might even get it done now. Without the slipstream, we go back to our exterior cameras, as he just about manages to pull alongside, I think, yep. As they make their way down towards the start-finish line, side by side. Soda's going to have the inside, and it seems that Soda doesn't fight it at all. Quinner's gets it nice and stopped on the brakes, moves up into 3rd place. And considering Sota still has their medium stint to run, that puts Quinner's in a very, very good position if things conventionally stay as they are, if we don't have a full course caution. Then again, Sota could try and challenge back, but the issue with that would be they'd start both losing time to the cars ahead. Meanwhile, Wybear and Rotary, those two also moderately close on circuit at the moment. The BMW ahead of the Jaguar. Gap stands at around 7 to 8 tenths at this stage, as the Jaguar goes a little bit wide. Should get for that nice and tighter entry though for that hairpin. And indeed, seems to make up a bit of time through this. So Rotary quite confident through this section. interesting to note this, because the Jaguar I would have thought more of a straight line car. If it can keep up and even catch the BMW in the corners, that is quite an impressive feat by them. Although through Juncel, again, it would seem the BMW gains a couple of tenths. As, oh, that's a bit of a different line. For a second I thought Rotary was going into the pits there. It would have been odd. Certainly, that's why they didn't. They just looked like a little bit of that line. Everyone's starting to settle into their groove. We are 11 laps in, 12 if you count the pace lap. Of course, Nukeshot Media here live at Interlagos, well, live at my bedroom, but let's say we're live at Interlagos anyway. It's a bit of a mistake from Rotary as they made their way through turn 4. Bit of a slide, you saw some sparks being kicked up by the Jaguar, so they're actually losing a little bit of time. YBS seems to have picked up the pace a bit. Sota and James starting to get a bit close. So one ART car has managed to overtake the R8. We're about to see if the Aston can do it to another, and look at this! Poor exit from Sota out of Juncel, and easily past goes the Aston Martin. See if we can have a replay of this. Sota's car would seem to just go over that AstroTurf, sort of griddle thing a bit too much, put a bit of dirt on the tyres, loss of traction, and that would just lead to a light bit of oversteer, which would ruin their momentum up the hill, and that allows James up into 4th place. So the ARS car's on the move in these early stages of the race. Oh, I thought that might have been a little bit too deep on the brakes there, a bit too brave, but James proves me wrong, as he often does, and manages to get it stopped. Good work by them. Making their way to the tight and twisty sector 2. Again, it'd be interesting to see now if James will be able to catch Quinners, because Quinners doesn't have anyone's slipstream anymore, as they had behind Sota. It's going to be a good battle. And also Wake here, in 6th at the moment. Do not discount them. They are the championship leader for a reason. They've been in far worse situations than this and gotten fantastic results throughout this championship. No doubt they'll probably come good by the end again. You also see the Joe 2 guy making their way down the back straight. Fantastic facility here at Interlagos with the grandstands. Great fan support. Of course, great fan support as well in the chat. Hello to Jamie in the chat, nice having you along. Hope you're enjoying the action as much as we are here in the studio, both me and my glass of Dandelion and Burdock. Good stuff. Very, very good stuff. At the moment, Wybear has managed to continue to extend the gap a little bit, maybe a few tenths or so over Rotary. Gonna just monitor the tyre situation between these two though, as actually Rotary has a bit worse wear on the front. Now I'd imagine, given the circuit, that it would be the front right that would wear the most, and that is proven to be the case. Perhaps Rotary just being a bit too confident on the brakes is starting to wear his tyres down a bit quicker. Or it could just be a characteristic of the Jaguar not being overly kind on its tyres. Difficult to say. Again, still early days. At the moment, Wybear seems to have the edge on tyre life. in the Golden Bear Motorsports battle at the moment. The gap 16 seconds of Muda ahead of John Wandering, the two Lexi. Good to see both of them here again, especially in John Wandering's case, after not seeing them for a while. Here is our leader, 10.9 seconds clear of Stig, now 11 seconds clear. It is Fred Dude, the Belgian, doing a good job at the moment on the alternate strategy of starting on the softs, remember, so still has their medium compound to run later on in the race. Interestingly, also note that Stig is extending their medium stint. They started on the mediums like the majority of the field, but the majority of the field came into the pits to switch to the softs as soon as possible. Now, is this some kind of masterstroke in strategy that's going to see Stig really find his way up the order towards the end? I mean, he's already up the order now, but perhaps he's thinking he can get this race done on one less pit stop. Speaking of pit stops, he's into the pits. What are the chances of that? Here we are then, the Simpak Gojira crew. Professionals at work there. Car 00. Where will he rejoin? I think he's gonna definitely be 4th or lower. I think he might rejoin in 4th, unless... Oh, no. He's probably gonna slot in... That's difficult to say. 6th or 7th. I think it could be 7th, yep, behind the Joe 2 guy on the rejoin. So, you seem to have lost quite a bit of time at this stage due to extending his stint on the mediums, but then again, could all change. His tyres are going to be a fair bit fresher. We'll compare his tyres to those of the Joe 2 guy. Here you can see the difference in tyre wear. They're pretty much equal on fuel at this stage, but Stig, with the far fresher tyres, he's got to start cutting his way through traffic though, if he's going to find his way to the front again on this strategy, I believe. Going to be interesting to see that develop. The gap between James and Quinners. Now, James in the slipstream range of the Porsche. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything into the Senna S this time around, as we have vehicle damage for Amuda. Let's see if it was it him by himself? He seemed to be by himself on the circuit, in which case it would be... Oh, he had it way before that point, so he was just a bit slow at typing it. But again, he was pretty much by himself at in the circuit, so... Yep, race control decides to keep it green for now. Fred, 15 seconds ahead. Let's take a look at their tyre wear. Not the worst of the group. Mind you, that's probably due to running in clear air all this time, not sliding around as much. We know the pace of the Belgian, especially his qualifying performance, as we saw last time out, taking the pole at Bathurst. Has the current fastest lap of the race here as well, with a 1:30.259. As I believe the Joe 2 guy and Stig have made an overtake on Sota, have they? As Sota actually ran wide on the first part of Sector 2, and that allowed both of the Simpak cars there to go and make an overtake on them. Fred now into the pits. Where will Fred rejoin? We're gonna find out. Again, they should definitely be somewhere in the mid-pack now. You gotta think. They're going onto their medium compound. We also see James inherit the lead of the race because of this, so ART James leading this race. We've got pretty much a battle for the lead of the race as well, as Fred Dude rejoins in 3rd. Now they're ahead of Wake and Stig. Now it's going to be a case of trying to hold on to that track position on the worst tyre compound. But look how close it is between Roland and James. In fact, the order was the other way around not too long ago, so James has managed to make an overtake on Roland. Apologies for missing that, but these two still fighting it out between themselves. Some great battling we're seeing here at Interlagos. Here we are, hashtag stay at home on the rear wing of the Aston Martin of ART Blue driver James. ART owner James, it should also be said. Going to be trying their best to assist their fellow teammate, of course not technically in the championship standings, but all associated ARS drivers, to get the best result possible. James, the best in the standings at the moment of the ARS drivers. I mentioned they were 4th in the standings, best of the non-TSR cars. They certainly seem to be making a case for a very good result here today. They plunge their way down the SRF. Great stuff, great battling. Is there something going off? Okay, it just looked like there were multiple arrows together for a second. Apologies for that. We are getting ever closer to the half race distance point. I believe we're only 7 or 8 laps away from that. So a significant portion of the race has been completed, still a majority of the race to go. Now Stig, on those fresh softs, has managed to put in a 1:30.117. So Stig, the fastest car on track at the moment, that Nissan GDR, even with it not being the best car in the corners typically, Stig is certainly proving its pace here today. Very good stuff. In fact, he's ahead of the Joe 2 guy at this stage. So of course they're on different strategies. Joe not holding up Stig more than likely, and it's Wake up the road as well. So the 3 TSR cars are 4th, 5th and 6th at the moment. Of course, still a shame that we don't have Swablu in the mix as well. Of course, we lost him unfortunately before the race even began. Still gets the point for pole position, as we said. Into sector 2, the leaders go. Plenty of marbles being built up, you could just see from the cameras there. Now if you do go offline on this circuit, it can really carry you away, especially some of the higher speed corners. I'm thinking turn 4, I believe, and Junseo especially, you can end up going quite wide here. Cars making their way down towards there now. We'll see how the marble build-up is like down here. You can see the Aston Martin does go wide. Now this could lead for quite a run for the Porsche. Here we are again, rear wing cam. Now the Porsche in slipstream. The Aston is more of a straight line car though. Porsche not seeming to make that much ground even in slipstream. This is probably a good thing if you're playing the team game here at ART, because if the Porsche can't catch in slipstream, although it makes a lot of time going through the center S there, as the Joe 2 guy goes into the pits, then it essentially stops it from both cars battling and both of them losing time in relation to the other teams currently racing. Although Quinners does have a lot of dirty air to contend with at this point. We'll have to check on the tyres again of these guys. The ones on James' car starting to look past their best, as we're actually seeing Wake mount a challenge on Fred, dude. So Wake has managed to really catch up to the back of Fred. And we have a 3-car battle again here at Interlagos. And it's a battle for 3rd as well. Now, did something happen to Fred? Or was I just purely the pace of the Nissans there? Fred is on the mediums. Maybe that had something to do with it, but nevertheless, the Nissan's really making gains. And you gotta think Fred's going to be a bit of a sitting duck as they're coming onto the straight. Or the not so straight, as we usually say on this channel. It does curve quite a bit. The banana straight, as it actually looks like Stig might be setting something up. I'm gonna go front cam here on Stig as James goes into the pit. So Fred defends the inside. Wake probably will manage to get past quite easily, although Fred manages to just about hang it out. And a slight tap between the two Nissans, so Fred does manage to defend his position. He's going to try and go defensive again, I think, if he can. Although Wake manages to still go for the inside. Great move there by Wake. Though Fred trying to get a bit of a better exit. Stig also closing up to them. Sota in the pits now as well. Again, definitely had a look there, did Stig. Backed out of it when he saw the gap wasn't there. Now making their way into the triple hairpin complex. Again, the GTR does struggle a bit through here. As you can see, lost a few tenths in that one section alone. It's due to the amount of torque it has, and just the fact that it can't necessarily put all that power down out the slow corners. It does tend to lose traction a bit. And now Fred has the slipstream of a car in the form of Wake. They might be able to put up a bit of a better defense this lap around. Also, to note, the Joe 2 guy very close to Sota at the moment. I can't monitor multiple battles at once, but Joe behind Sota, who's in 7th, as race leader Quinners into the pits. As what on earth was this? I'm gonna have to see a replay of this. It would seem that Fred just got out of the way or something. I'm gonna have a replay of what happened here. Perhaps he was just accepting the Nissan was going to overtake him. Didn't want to cause that much of trouble. He just stayed out the way, it would seem. Let the Nissan go by, and then cut across to see if there was a gap on the inside. Backed out of it. So Fred down to 3rd. And because of the pit stops, that's put the Simpak Gojira cars 1 and 2. And what did I say about Wake earlier on? He always finds himself at the higher end of things, as John Modrin is about to get blue flagged, I think, by the race director. The leaders come up to him. But look at this, the two Nissans definitely no team orders between them at the moment. They're racing each other. But obviously there's the team order of don't crash into each other, the golden rule of racing, as Stig has managed to slot their way up the inside of the... I think they have. Now which Nissan is going to have the straight line advantage? Side by side they run. Stig goes ahead as Wake peels into the pits, and so does Fred. Battle of the pit crews then. Nukeshot Starscream versus Simpak in the pits. Both teams doing a very good job. Now Fred has done their 6 laps, I believe, now on that stint. They're fueling up. I think it's just the fueling that's done. And Fred has gone out. So Fred is ahead of Wake at this stage. Wake only just leaving the pits now. Oh, I think Wake's going to be a fair bit back. Oh, where they're going to be? I think they're going to slot in 8th. Yep, they're going to be behind Sota. While Fred... actually just behind their teammate Weiber, so Fred's actually not lost overly much time or track position compared to Wake, despite those two stopping at the same time. That's due to Fred not taking on anywhere near as much fuel, although I don't think he needed to, really, given how much was already in the car, it would seem. These contrasting strategies are fascinating. And now the two BMW by Nukeshot Starscream Enterprise cars are 2nd and 3rd. Now will Weiber offer the slipstream as the teammates did earlier of other teams, with ART specifically, James and Quinners, where they offer the slipstream. As actually no, Wybear goes into the pits themselves. Okay, they're on the softs, they're quite low on fuel, so this could be a long pit stop for Wybear. They need to fuel up. I think they could rejoin. Difficult to say. I think they'll be in 9th. I think they'll be behind Wake, as Wake coming across the start-finish line. They're catching up to Sota, as indeed it does look like they're going to be rejoined. They see on the other side of the screen as Wake goes round the outside of the Audi R8. Look at that! Will they have the horsepower to get the move done before the corner here, or does Soda try and challenge them on the brakes? No. So Wake manages to gain a position. The charge is on. Up to 6th now for the championship leader. Now Stig, let's have a look at this. He's got around just over a quarter of his fuel tank left. He's already done his medium stint, may I remind you. I believe everyone has done at this stage. Unless Sota is on their medium stint now. So Wake still ahead of them at the moment, so no more pit stops for mediums, we're thinking. Everyone pretty much just going to stay on the faster compound of tyre. Now, it's been pretty chaotic and difficult to monitor at the moment, but I'm going to see if I can take a little bit of a break and see what's been going off on chat. Hello to Nils in chat. Nice having you along here. And hello to Gamer Mikey. That's Mikey of Starscream Enterprises. I've been bigging you and your guys up quite a bit, as there seemed to be a bit of a timing glitch here, as Wyber and Rotary swapped positions there, as one of them came across the timing line. But Rotary now into the pits, the Paradox team. Good work on the changing of the tyres. They're going to be in very clear air, it would seem, as they come out the pits. They're in 9th place. They've got a fair bit of buffer on the Gonbear Lexus outfit at the moment. Fred Dude 2nd, and look at this. ART James, they're in 3rd. Doing very well at the moment, as it was the yellow car there of John Wandering. There's a lap down now at this stage, unfortunately. That was who Fred was just overtaking. Very sporting is Joe Wandering, though. Always does do his best to get out of the way of others when he's in this situation. We have seen good pace from him in the past. It just doesn't seem to be working out that well for him today. Teammate Amuda in 10th at the moment. They're in Sector 2. Again, pretty much all by themselves. Someone cue the world's smallest violin. Mr. Krabs, where are you at? Great noise, though, by that Lexus engine. Now, again, interesting with the strategies. We know Stig will have to pit again. Fred will probably have to pit again as well, but it's interesting to think of when everyone will be doing their last pit stops. I think, dependent on how bad the tyre wear is, Fred could opt for a splash and dash at the end. Although it is very high tide circuit here at Interlagos, thanks to the quite old track surface, I believe. Well, quite bumpy track surface, definitely. I think it was resurfaced at some point. James in 3rd. You see them making their way up the hill. The Aston Martin. Again, very good drive by them so far. Strategy finds them in 3rd place at the moment. Highest of the Arrows cars. With teammate, or unofficial but official teammate of Quinners just back there in the orange Porsche. There you see. Fan favourite, of course. Yeah, Mikey, it's been... I don't know if you was here at the very start of the stream, but the strategies were very mixed up because Fred, one of the few cars to start on the softs after starting from first place, of course, after Swablu unfortunately had to leave after getting the pole position. And Stig, again, he started on the mediums, but he took his mediums very long, unlike the rest of the field, and at the moment that's really benefited him because now he's got those mediums out the way, he's at the front of the field, and he currently holds the fastest lap of the race. As we have vehicle damage for Amuda. He's at the side of the road. Was that a single car incident again? I don't know. He's pretty much by himself. Yep, he ran wide there. No chance of stopping when you get your wheels on the grass like that. Wheels on the grass go round and round, and into the barrier he goes. Probably can't say into the barrier because I'll get copyrighted. Never mind, eh? So we are at around the half race distance marker, as Mikey did allude to. He joined lap 18 or so. Okay, nice for you to be joining with us at this stage of the race. Things really starting to heat up. Things starting to really spice up as well. No Kormas here today. Again, this broadcast being brought to you by the fantastic taste of Dandelion and Burdock, because pronouncing it Dandelion isn't fancy enough for me. The gap between Stig and Fred, 9 seconds, and it is coming down, it would seem. Now we're expecting this as Stig comes towards the end of his stint, the tyres wearing out. Of course Fred, I believe on the freshest set of anybody at this stage, definitely one of the freshest sets. He's got clean air to himself at the moment. He's had a lot of clean air running here today, Fred, and that does benefit him. Essentially setting qualifying lap after qualifying lap. Some of these top drivers. Of course, Stig as well. Definitely no slouch. Of course, with the fastest lap of the race. Some really, really good quality drivers in this series, has to be said. A lot of these I've known since, well, way back in the Nukeshot Endurance series. Who remembers when that was a thing? And of course, a lot of the Simpac guys from their own championships that they've been running. All very, very competitive, very professional group of lads. It's definitely showing their professionalism here today. James also, head of the ARS racing team, racing in the Aston Martin for ARS Racing Blue, finding themselves in third. Good work by them. Again, everyone's starting to really settle into the groove again. James does tend to really throw the car into Johnstown, doesn't he? Very deep, or at least it looks like he's going wide, but at the last second he does manage to make the corner on exit and not run onto the AstroTurf. That might have something to do with the tyre. Not really. The tyre shouldn't be having that much of an effect at the moment on pace. Here we see Quinners. They are in fourth at the moment. That's their tyre wear situation. As Fred Dude has actually set a new fastest lap of the race. That's a 1:30.056. So it shows that the Belgian is on the move at the moment. But again, alternate strategies for the front two. In fact, for the front three, probably. I think James is the one on the conventional strategy that's the highest up, of starting on the mediums and instantly switching to the soft. Soda, meanwhile, they're exiting the pits now. They've just done their medium stint. They should now be looking to go to the end. Yep, they're fueled up. Fresh rubber, fresh shoes, and they are on their way out. Clean air. I believe that's the first car that's capable of going to the end of the race. It could be a bit tight on fuel with the amount of laps remaining. As race leader TSR Stig into the pits. He's definitely quite low on fuel at this point. Now he could go to the end at this stage, I believe, if what Soda's doing is anything to go by. As Fred also into the pits. This is an interesting development. Was he only taking fuel? He's on the way out of the pits. Where's Stig? He's jumped Stig in the pits! So an interesting strategy development has led to Fred Dude overtaking Stig in the pits. But look at this, look at Joe! Joe's gonna get a run on the outside. Joe manages to get up into third and puts Fred in a very difficult position with two Simpac cars ahead and, well, one ahead, one behind. But actually could be, again, quite interesting because now they'll have some slipstream at least to defend from the GTR on the straight, so it might not work out as Simpac is thinking. It's really fascinating racing at this stage. Joe, quite worn tyres though. Was it fresh rubber for Fred? It was. So he did manage to change the tyres again, did Fred. So Joe is definitely due another stop. But will Fred be able to overtake Joe? As Stig seems to have lost a bit of time. Just a bit. He'll probably gain it back again. As Joe actually makes a mistake going wide. The two bit of onion barges as they're going along the straight. Fred with the inside. Mercedes versus BMW. Who's gonna get the edge as they go here? Stig tries to make it 3 wide as they go into turn 1. Fred just about manages to get the move to stick. And Stig sliding about as they made their way through the center S. Now will Joe be able to do anything to re-attack Fred? It looks like the Mercedes might have a bit of a run. Nope, thinks a bit better of it on this occasion. I'm just going to see what happened to Stig. Here you see, they get a run on both of them, they go wide. Now they may have left their braking a bit too late. There are the marbles out there. No, he's fine. He just had a bit of a slide through there. Lost a bit of time as there's vehicle damage we're hearing for the Joe 2 guy. What's happened here? And what's happened with Wake? Wake is now passing them. No damage to Fred, no damage to Stig, no damage to Wake, but damage to the Joe 2 guy. I'll do my best to, I hope we get this on replay. It looks like we are going to. What's happened? Was it? Oh! Teammates collide! That was netcode! That was extremely unfortunate netcode there between the two TSR teammates. That is exactly what you don't want to happen. Oh, this game can be so cruel sometimes. Joe having to go into the pits. No, because it was netcode, that's probably the reason why Stig didn't get any damage from that. Can't really call it an incident, so to say, as there's a full course caution out, and this throws everything up in the air. As some cars have made the pit stops, I believe, or have they? If they have, then they've come out in the lead of the race. What? these guys just make their pit stops? Hold on. If so, then did they... Depending on the delta of when it happened, that could mean that they're net in the lead of the race here. Looking at the deltas, it would appear... Yep, they're both on outlaps. The race director hasn't said anything about them waiting, so it would seem, through the miraculous things of strategy and luck, that James and Quinners find themselves in first and second. The cars making their way round. Who'd have thought this? Definitely got enough fuel to go to the end at this stage. It's going to help a lot of the guys that were a bit marginal, perhaps, to get to the end. Perhaps Fred, who's managed to jump, of course, Stig on the pit stops by fueling less. Wybear in 5th at this stage. Wake 6th. Joe 7th. Sota 8th. 10th place, Amuda goes into the pits. So they're putting on some fresh rubber. So Soda 8th is saying Rotary 9th. 10th is Amuda. They're going to be fueling up. I believe they'll get to go back into 10th. I think because of where they rejoined, because the other cars haven't caught up to the queue yet. So I think they're going to get to slot back in where they are. I can't recall if race control said that they're allowed to get a lap back yet. They said be patient. Yep, actually we're hearing the call now. I was just checking to see if there's some messages in the feed. Apologies for cutting away from the liveness. Anyway, they're unlapping themselves. Now hopefully everyone stops weaving as they try and make their way safely past. It would seem to be the case. So the Lexi will be back on the lead lap. So, with 20 laps of racing left here at Interlagos, everything has been turned on its head. We have ART James leading this race, with Roland Jupiter Quinners in 2nd place. Fred Dude, best of the non-Arrows cars in this case, they're in 3rd, with TSR Stig in 4th, Wybear in 5th, so Stig is the meat in a BMW sandwich at the moment. TSR Wake, they are in 6th, so you could say Wybear's the meat in a Nissan sandwich at the moment. Many sandwiches here today on Nukeshot Media. The Joe 2 guy, the lone Mercedes, after Swablu not making the start at DNS. I think that might be the first one of the season, I could be wrong. They're in 7th anyway at this stage. Sota in 8th. Look out for that R8 on the start. The Jaguar of Rotary, they find themselves in 9th. 10th place, and unlapping themselves at this moment in time, Amuda, and in 11th, John Wandering. Well, both of these guys, fresh tyres, should be able to mix things up. Now, is everyone on fresh tyres? Okay, Wybear is on slightly worn tyres. That could be an Achilles heel. Have to watch out for that. And of course with championship leader Wake right behind them, you gotta think something is going to go off in form of a battle there. And they pitted after the full course caution was called, according to Mike. It's a really unusual situation. Race direction hasn't seen any fault with it, of course, so we'll take it as it is, but it is just a bit confusing, I suppose you could say. Of course, far from any meddling in any affairs, I'm sure. it is just interesting how things have developed with that full course caution call. You see the battered and bruised M6 of Wybear making their way around. Now we was monitoring tyres. Who else on worn tyres? It would seem Wybear is the only car on slightly worn tyres. So everyone's probably going to take their rubber to the end, provided there are no incidents, and dependent on when we get racing again. Could we see these guys take it to the end? I don't know. The tyres could be quite worn come the end of this. They might have to make an extra stop. I think on fuel a lot of these guys are going to be fine. It's just going to be the tyres that are the dependent factor here. Again, thanks to all that have been tuning into the stream so far. We've got 9 viewers still. That is fantastic. And thank you to Real Crazy for subscribing to the channel. Just got that notification from my phone, so thank you so much for that. Hope you are enjoying the action. Segue, if anyone else wants to subscribe, feel free to do so. Oh dear. But in all seriousness, we are covering the rest of the series as well, and we've seen some fantastic action, some fantastic spice here today at Interlagos on circuit. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to leave a like on stream as well. Definitely helps the channel out a lot. We're hearing from race control we're having a restart on this lap as yep, John Wandering and Amuda are going to be at the back of the train, so that's worked out very well for them. And the battle between the two Lexi will continue. Of course, John Wandering yet to score points. I'm just going to quickly check. I believe points go all the way to 10th, but there are 11 cars in this race, and John Wandering is currently 11th. They're yet to score. So if they could get ahead of Amuda, that would be their first championship point. No doubt that would mean a lot to the GBM owner. Have to see if they're up for the battle with their teammate. And of course the rest of the field, as everyone else is bunched up. Can't write anyone off. Who knows what's going to happen on this restart. Fred Dude currently has the fastest lap of the race. Let's have a look at the live timing. Here are some of the lap times then, at the moment. Again, the majority of people in the 130s, a couple in 131s. As we're hearing vehicle damage, actually, for a mood. What? How on? What has happened this time? This is odd. So, oh, it was a concertina effect, and it would seem 3 cars would have got damaged from that. Are we racing? It would seem we're racing, so because the call was already made in advance, then we're still racing, which is fair. The call was made that we were restarting no matter what. So the 2 Arrows cars managed to get up or continue in that position, as Fred has really lost out. They are in 6th place, still green. We're now hearing as confirmation from the race director as the battles continue throughout the field. As display race info, there we go. These guys looking to dice with each other. Fred looking to the outside of Joe. Again, these guys still extremely close together. I don't know if Fred might have been caught out by the no continuation thing, but it was called that we were going for a restart at the end of the lap. James still leading us off, but look at this, the battle for second heating up. TSR Stig looks to go wide for the first part of the center S. Try and get his run on the downhill. As we're also seeing some battles a bit further back. I think Wybear's lost a couple of positions. Let's look at this. Stig, they're going to try the outside. I don't quite think it's going to work. They're going to try a cutback, better exit. Advisory to all drivers to not discuss things during the race. These things can be discussed afterwards. Roland still in second at the moment. They're doing a good job defensively. What was it that happened to Wybear? Again, race director confirming that. It just seems that everyone just mugged them off, it would seem. In very technical terms. 3 cars making an overtake through the center S. So he's really lost out on that restart. But now here we see again the battle for second. Look how defensive Quinners is having a go for the Nissan. Look at this, he now gives him the squeeze to the outside line. And I think Stig's got him. Stig has got him. He moves up into second place. Let's see if we can get a replay of this one. Round the outside it was. Fantastic move there by Stig. Now the Nissan also known for not having the best of brakes, so to pull off something like that, very impressive. As Fred Dude finds himself back up to 4th after dropping down several positions earlier on. They're trying to make their move up the order. As the Joe 2 guy was passed by them not overly long ago. Fred still holds the fastest lap of the race, so we know their pace. Joe also definitely no slouch, has won the majority of things he's entered in, to my knowledge. Of course, I have worked with him before. He's very, very talented. As, look at that, actually. We have side-by-side action on the run down towards Juncel. Let's see if we can catch some of this again. Some properly spicy stuff. It would seem that the Jaguar didn't get the best of runs. The BMW looked to the outside, although it actually, no, it just ran wide. And that allowed the Audi to try a bit of an attack. It didn't quite work out for them. But look at this. Down the inside goes Wybear. And he gets it to stick. Good move there by the Indonesian. And also, it's going to allow Sota to get a run, is it? No, not quite. Looked like it originally. Turned out not to be. But there's the 3 wide moment. I'm going to have to get a replay of that one shortly. Fred, 4th. Roland, 3rd. And Joe in 5th. So these 3 still really close together. It looked like there were 3 wide anyway on that straight. Oh! Was there a bit of a nudge? I couldn't quite tell. As, look at this. Now Joe goes around the outside of the hairpin. Fantastic move by Joe as well. So I'm going to see if I can do my best to see if I can get this 3 wide moment. So it looked like BMW got in the slipstream. Moved up. It's a little bit of onion barges. Wasn't quite what I saw from a distance then. Fred in the pits, so Fred actually has front aero damage. Into the pits they go. Still a fair bit of the race to go. They are just repairing the damage. I don't know how much time they'd actually lose. I think mainly track position. They're currently going to come out in 9th, as we're still seeing some stuff filter through at the moment. As, oh, a look from Wake. going into turn 4. Thinks better of it on this occasion. There's so much chaos going off at the moment. Good chaos, mind you. Chaos nonetheless. The Audi R8 again takes a bit of a wider line through there. And that's allowed the GTR to slot his way up the inside. Wake gets the move to stick. Wake moves up the order. How high up the order will Wake be by the end of the race? Who knows? At the moment, it's ART James still in the lead of this race. Stig in second. Joe 2 guy third. Did something happen to Quinn? Quinn has got rear aero damage, so that might have been contact with Fred Dude then, at a guess. Considering they got front aero damage earlier on. Again, something for the stewards to look into. It might not have been there, I don't know. Although, add the two together normally is what it is. So that explained why Quinn has dropped a bit of pace at this stage. Down through the center S. Wybear looking to see if he can do anything. The Porsche not that good on the straights anyway, but with that damaged rear aero, gotta think it's going to be hampered even more. I don't think the BMW is going to be close enough on this occasion. As, oh, very close to running wide. Every time they go through these corners, it looks like they're going to run wide, but they make it stick anyway. As defensive goes Quinners to the inside, Wybear tries to hang it around the outside line. Still side by side they run. I think he's just going to edge him out as Wybear runs wide, and that's actually allowed Wake to get up another position. A fantastic example of picking your spots to attack and defend. Probably should have kept it single file, should have Wybear, through that section, because he tried gaining a position, ended up losing one instead. As, look at this, Fred all over the back of the R8 of Sota. Another one who's going to try their best to make their way to the front of the field. Trying with the slipstream. Looks like they've got alongside as Quinners and Wybear both going into the pits. Side by side on the way to the center S. It looks like Fred has got the move to stick. Quite conventional outbraking maneuver there. Now, gap for the lead, 2.4 seconds. These guys definitely capable of going to the end, I believe. It's looking like it. Shout out to Supersonic 956 GTR for liking my activity, whatever that is. There in the top right of the screen. Now, will James be able to hold on? That Nissan with Stig in it. We saw his strategy, really the stuff of genius early on, seems to have been neutralized, the whole strategy aspect, with that late full course caution, or sort of mid-race, but late mid-race, late-ish, mid-race-ish words. But look at this. Was that a mistake, actually, by James? He seems to have lost a bit of time. I'm gonna see. Coming up to John Sao, and oh, very much so, just missing the apex. Not the best of exits. Now the gap, 1.1 seconds, and the GTR is within slipstream range. We've got 10 laps to go here at Interlagos here in Brazil. The sun still continues to set. Track temperature still probably the same. Still no chance of rain, but still plenty of action on the way. It is far from over here. Stig continues to close up. Meanwhile, Joe, pretty much by himself at the moment, as Wake is ahead of Fred. That rhymed. So Wake managing to make an overtake on Fred there at some point, I believe. Those two quite close together. I'll see if... oh, maybe that was just how it was quite a while ago then. apologies for that. Those two are still quite close together then. The two Belgians. Of course, it looks like we could be seeing a run now by the GTR. Here we go. On the straight. The banana straight. Curved very slightly on the run down. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close enough, to be honest, on this occasion. And indeed, Stig has to bide his time for now. Bit of dust kicked up there by the Aston Martin of James. But 10 laps of these two battling it out, I cannot wait to watch. In fact, we don't have to wait to watch. Look at this. Closing up just that little bit more. The Aston you would think would be better through Sector 2. Again, another thing to monitor, Fred and wait. So two battles very close on circuit. They're the closest battles on circuit at the moment. The battle for 4th and the battle for 1st. As, oh, bit of a slide it would seem from James. 0.3 of a second to get now. That's basically as close as you can get while remaining behind someone. Opens up to around 0.4. And again on the downhill to Junsao. Very, very good run by the Nissan. And a better exit, crucially, for the Aston Martin going onto the straight. Now, let's see if there'll be any overtake on this occasion. The GDR's going to have a much better chance of it this time around. Does James defend the inside? He doesn't. He wisely so sticks to his racing line on this occasion. Probably knew that because of the nature of the SRF, if he did compromise his line to the first part, he'd probably lose out on the second part as well, as Stig would get a bit of a better run. Now he goes defensive. Fantastic racecraft between these two as they're side by side for the lead of the race. And it looks like Stig had a bit of a Slide McGee moment, though he's still looking to the inside. No, he can't quite find it on this occasion. Through the very tight and twisty Sector 2 we come. It'll be very difficult for the GTR to do anything through here, though James seemed to run a bit wide. Now Stig could... Nope, the door not left open. Very easy to leave the door open in that place. Things stable for now. Again, these two also very close together. Shout out to Paddy Irish, or whatever that is, on liking my activity. These two extremely close. I'm gonna have to constantly switch between the two of them. On the run to Junsao, I think they're gonna stay stationary for now, so we can go back to this. The Aston, another very good straight line car, but the GTR still just that little bit extra special. Down towards the SRF, and it looks like James just manages to fend him off again. How much longer can James put up this kind of defense? Look at this. It now seems that Stig has found his way to the inside. This could very much be it. Side by side they run. And indeed, TSR Stig goes up into the lead of the race. Fantastic work there by Lord Stigworth. Have a look at this again. On the inside, as James swam wide because he was on the marbles, manages to get that place. Fantastic work there with the racecraft. Good defense by James as well, and it's far from over, has to be said. Look how close they are still. Who knows, the Aston could get a bit of a run. It is one of those cars, and especially with that BOP change, giving it 1% extra horsepower, that could definitely come into play. Oh, the straight that go again, or the flat out zone anyway. Rear wing cam here. And it does look like the Aston is getting a run on the GTR. Far from over now. Can he get it stopped on the brakes? He's looking to the inside. I think he's going to have to try a bit of a cutback if anything. Can't quite do it. Now can he get a run going down towards turn 4? It's looking difficult. It's looking difficult. Maybe on the brakes. Stig can't defend the inside. He's too close. They're coming up to the middle sections. Check on the other battle real quick. Still as they were. These two still extremely close together. I'd think the BMW would have the advantage in Sector 2 again over the GTR. Have to see how it develops with the two Belgians still going at it. So they're making their way through. Fred looks to the outside. I think he's not going to be able to make that work. Have to brake very late and have a lot of grip if you're going to try something like that. Not on this occasion. Then again, he's putting himself in the mirrors of the GTR of Wake, showing his presence. And look how close James has managed to get to Stig at the beginning of the flat-out section. Flashing the lights at Lord Stigworth. Here we are, ART James. Vehicle damage we're hearing from Fred Dude. As side by side, will there be a full course caution? At the moment, these two still as they were. Although we are getting very close to the end of the race, I think there might be a rule to do with something as this. A dive to the inside, and then the full course caution is called. Now, who was ahead at the time of the full course caution being called? You gotta think. Oh wow. Someone watch that back on the stream. I have no idea. I mean, since Stig was ahead, and James was making the overtake, then maybe, but honestly, I have no idea. I think James might have been just a 100th ahead, maybe. James was ahead according to Mikey in chat, and thus the order has stayed the same. So that dive going into turn 4 has managed to get James up into first place. Now I believe that that's... oh, I've lost for words now. Let's just check on Fred. What happened with Fred? Okay, so Wake went wide. And then Sota just sideswiped him. What? Okay, let's see some more perspectives of this, if we can. So Wake was wide. We'll see Wake's perspective after this. So this was in avoidance, and then a twitch, it would seem, by the Audi. And now let's see what happened with Wake. So Wake, he just clipped the grass by himself. A bit of oversteer. That allowed Fred to get alongside, or not quite, maybe. Actually, no, this is Sota, so let's see it from this angle. There's the oversteer. So, that's extremely unfortunate. Again, a lot of this has to be looked into by replay data. I've already made one mistake this season, at least, with regards to saying stuff before I should have. But it does look, at least from the... no, I can't say anything. I can't say anything. definitely an unfortunate incident. That's something I can definitely say. Okay. Was it restart this lap? I might have missed it. No. We're not restarting this lap, according to this. As, actually some of these guys are on their out laps, so they must have pitted? Be odd if they did. I mean, they are on fresh rubber, but... this... You would have thought at least one of them would have stayed out and try and get track position on everyone. Like maybe Stig would have done that or something. I don't know. Maybe everyone's just really desperate for the fresh rubber, as we're gonna have what would seem to be a 3-lap shootout, assuming we go green this time around. Again, Mikey in chat, just going to have to see what the stewards say, see what the replay data shows, all the telemetry and stuff. Really unfortunate to have a caution this late into the race, when things were really starting to spice up between the top two, but it's still all to play for, and it's more all to play for now than it has ever been, with... assuming 3 laps of the race. No, I think it could be 2 laps of the race to go, because I don't know if John Wandering will catch the back of everyone in time. I don't know. It would probably be safer if the race director didn't. I don't know. Oh, especially because they've just gone off to Narnia. Yeah, you can't restart this time around. Surely not. It's going to be 1 extra lap of full course caution, I believe. Indeed, as the cars make their way to the start-finish line, still under caution. A 2-lap shootout. It will be then laps 53 and 54. Of course, displays differently on the actual graphics because that takes into account the pace lap. Again, this broadcast is brought to you by My Majestic Chin, as well as Dandelion and Burdock. I can't even say it myself anymore, because Dandelion is too basic of a way to pronounce it. I don't know. Whatever I said before. Restart this lap. That was, I'd say that was a good call there by the race director, not to try and hurry the restart with the car lagging behind. Sure, it's an extra lap of racing gone, but it is the safest thing to do and good protocol to follow. Then again, I'm just a commentator. What do I know? If you're excited for this 2-lap shootout, again, be sure to leave a like on the stream. It does help out the channel to grow. Again, if you're enjoying the action as well, consider subscribing with the notification bell and all that good stuff, because we'll be bringing you the rest of the season. 2 rounds left after this one. It is pretty much anyone's game. You know what? I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say Wake is somehow going to get on the podium. From 4th at the moment, I reckon Wake is going to get on the podium yet again, because it's Wake. He always finds himself in these great situations. Again, thanks to everyone who's been sticking around in chat. We're about to go green. for what will hopefully be the last time of asking 2 laps to go. A shootout of sorts here at Interlagos. It is green, 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 and the cars are off again. Now, down to turn 1. Will there be any moves from anyone? It would seem not. Everyone keeping quite conventional. Actually, no, never mind. Look at this between Sota and Wake. Sota very racy off the start, looking to make a move on the Belgian. And that's opened the door for Quinners to make an overtake. Onion barges between them. Look at this. Rotary's going to make it 3 wide. Is he? No, not quite. Can't quite get the momentum. But look now. Sota really dropping down positions. And now Fred Dude coming up the order as well, overtaking them. Positions being lost and positions being gained, but look at this for the lead. And now Joe looking hungry for a win here at Interlagos as well. The top 3 starting to break a little bit as Wake being chased down by Sota at the start seemed to give him a bit of a gap to the 3 ahead. So it's Arrows, Gojira, Simpact and regular Simpact there as side by side goes the Paradox car and someone else, apologies, missed that. To John Sale, here we go. Now, what will we see here? It looks like a bit of teamwork here. Was it? No, not quite. I nearly thought that the bump drafting was going to commence again from Monza. Certainly it looked very close between Joe and Stig. As we go on to the final lap of the race, we have James in the lead. It's got a 7/10 gap. Now what can Stig do to eat into it? It's an absolute battle royale at the moment. Everyone still all together. Shout out to everyone who's been liking my activities. They get free shout outs on the stream for whatever reason. And now coming into Sector 2 with the Aston still ahead. I think the only chance that Stig might get jumps out or the run up the hill to the line. Possibly. James, currently our race leader, looks to be in a very strong position at the moment. Here you see on the rear wing cam the guys trailing behind him, including TSR Stig. Oh, bit of a hesitation on throttle there for the Aston Martin driver. That could allow the Nissan to gain a little bit. I think it is going to be a drag race to the line. The Aston gets a good exit. It seems to be a better exit than the Nissan. It's going to be close. I think it is going to be an Aston Martin win here at Interlagos. And as we switch to the exterior cams, it's going to be close, but it is going to be ART James taking the win here at Interlagos from TSR Stig and the Joe 2 guy in 3rd, rounding off the podium. Wake manages to get 4th in the end. My prediction of him being on the podium completely wrong. Fred 5th, Roland 6th, Rotary 7th, Amuda 8th in the end. So Amuda really benefited from the restart. Congratulations to ART James. That was a very good defense in those closing stages and a good strategy all around for them. Here are your race results. ART James the winner by 1.5 tenths in the end. Joe 2 guy a second back, they're in 3rd, Wake 4th, 5th in Fred, Roland 6th, Rotary 7th, Amuda 8th, Sota 9th, John Wander in 10th, Wybear really lost out at the end there in 11th and do not score this time around. Fastest lap, lap 55, the last lap of the race, believe it or not. TSR Stig really showing how much he was pushing for that win with a 1:29.566. So we definitely can't say he didn't give it his best. That was a fantastic effort. Fastest lap point goes to him. But it is ART James who is our winner here today. I'm going to see if I can get him an interview real quick. I'll see if that's a possibility. It would seem that Wybear may have had an incident with John wandering near the end, according to that. Why bit apologising? Whew. What a finish indeed, Wake. I completely agree. Oh, Stig had wheel failure, apparently, at one point. I don't know whether that was at the line or when, but unbelievable scenes. Remember your apostrophes, folks. I'll see if I can get Stig as the runner-up. Gotta have at least one interview, hopefully. Oh dear. What a race. What fantastic action. Whew. I'm out of breath. I hadn't even done anything. Well, speaking for... How long's the stream been up? Oh, mad, that was a mad voice crack. Getting an interview with TSR Stig. Of course, runner-up here today. Apologies for the blue screen of probably not death, but other stuff. Is he not appearing as online? Oh, okay, I've got to scroll a bit further down. Where is he? TSR Stig. Lord Stigworth himself will hopefully be with us shortly. Whew. Again, if you've enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like. I've certainly enjoyed this. Great action from start to finish. Should be joining us shortly. Again, here's the race results. Just keep it up. As James has completely disappeared from existence, according to this. That's probably because he's left the lobby. Yep. Ah, Stig. Hello.
Hello there. This is on the wrong, so... Hello there.
Okay. First of all, great race, just missing out at the end on the win. You had a very interesting strategy towards the start with starting on the mediums, but also taking the mediums quite a bit longer than the rest of the others. How long did it take you to develop that?
Oh, sorry. Well, I was never actually planning on trying to finish on the podium, and due to lack of practice, I would never expect to have that much pace. So I thought I might just try and run the medium as long as I could, and then once I knew I started to lose time, I thought I'll just go and pit for the soft tyre. Yeah, that was kind of it really.
Yeah, it certainly seemed to be a complete contrast to what everyone else was doing, and it really seemed to serve you well.
Yeah, it was actually working very well until I had wheel failure.
Of course.
Then I just had to try and live with the maximum force feedback through the direct drive. But I don't even know how I'm here sweating like I've been to the gym. So I'm happy with second in the day, and that, like I say, I was never wanted really to be on the podium due to weight ballast. I wanted to just try and wait till later on through the next couple of races, but got to take it while you can.
Yeah, a great job in the end, and of course that last lap shootout in the end. We had a couple of full course cautions near the end that seemed to pretty much neutralize strategy. On those restarts, you found yourselves very near the front, though. Surely there was a temptation to push for the win. I mean, we saw you get fastest lap on the last lap, so definitely no hesitation with that.
Yeah, well, I was happy with second, and it wasn't worth the risk trying to take James out. James has done a good job strategizing himself to put himself there, so it would have been too risky to try and send it. Plus, like I say, with the wheel being so heavy, turning into corners, I couldn't really match it after the safety car. So just had to be happy where I was.
Of course, a great result all around for the TSR guys. Second, third, and fourth. So you guys looking very strong in the championship. The team's championship, I believe. I probably need to do my actual math for this, but I believe Simpac Gojira and Simpac Racing Team are the only two teams with a chance at the moment for taking the team's title. You must be a very proud team owner.
Yeah, and I think the sponsors back at home will be very proud as well. So I think everyone's done a tremendous job. We've got to congratulate the other guys for doing such a good job as well.
Of course, fantastic hearing from you, Stig. Congratulations on a great result, and hope to see you next time out as well. Of course, next time out, I'm just going to see on the championship calendar. Let's see. Come on, GT Planet. We are going to Laguna Seca for what is going to be the final sprint round of the season. So 45 minutes of action there. It's going to be same time, same place. The conditions are going to be 6 p.m. sunny. So that could be an evening race similar to this. And I'll have to double check on that. Again, as the season's coming to its close with Laguna Seca and Suzuka. Hope you guys will continue to stick around on the channel for what is going to be a fantastic conclusion for the ARS World GT Series here on Nukeshot Media. We hope you've enjoyed the stream today. Again, be sure to show your support by considering leaving a like and subscribing to catch all the action for the rest of the series and potential future championships with these guys as well. We'll have to see how things continue to develop with that. Of course, we've got one deal signed. We'll have to see what they have in store for us. But until then, I have been Zokeo. He has been Stig. Congratulations again, Stig. And we hope to see you out next time in California. Until then, it's goodbye from us. See you later, folks.